Greetings, everybody, and welcome back to another week of the Daily Dizzle. It is Monday, May 14th, 2012. The Dizzlemits himself, Tom Denardi, bringing you some of the latest entertainment headlines from the weekend. It was a big weekend of celebration for Marvel and for Disney, as Marvel's Avengers ended up being the first movie ever to gross over $100 million in its second weekend. A decade ago, when Spider-Man came out, it was almost impossible for a movie to reach that on its first weekend, and now you have the movies managing to hold up very well. Not only that, it actually held up as the best movie for a second weekend drop that opened over $120 million. Previously, Avatar held the record after delivering a second weekend that was on par with its first weekend, and it took the throne from The Dark Knight. Speaking of The Dark Knight, The Avengers also knocked off another record from its impressive repertoire, and that would be the best second weekend hold. When The Dark Knight had come out, when it had its opening weekend record, ended up dropping 52% in its second weekend, which was a pretty good drop at the time. Most of these blockbusters seem to drop 55+%, typically even 60%. The Avengers, if the estimates hold, it only dropped 50.2%. It could increase a little bit, even if it drops a little over 50%, as long as it hits the $100 million mark for the 3 days, which there's no chance it's going to drop below that. If the estimates for the weekend hold, then the Avengers will only drop just under 51%, still on the record from Batman. With the way it's performing, I used to be one of those people who was saying Avengers can do as awesome as it wants because The Dark Knight Rises is definitely beating it later in the summer. Avengers with 3D, positive reviews, even more so possibly than The Dark Knight. And now that the Avengers guarantees that it's going to make over $500 million for the summer, there's a very good shot that it will actually pass $550 million, which is about $20 million more than The Dark Knight's record gross. Really, I don't know if Batman stands a chance later this summer, so we have more coverage of that as we get closer to Batman and see if Warner Brothers can step up their advertising. Speaking of Warner Brothers and stepping up their marketing, Johnny Depp and Tim Burton apparently aren't the only things that can sell movies. There used to be a guarantee that if you could put their names together on a poster, everyone would be like, holy fuck, they're gonna have a crazy movie. Dark Shadows came out this weekend, opened to less than $30 million, which isn't a terrible amount, but considering the promotion, considering the star power, considering the $150 million budget, yeah, it's going to be definitely one of their less successful movies. Now to touch on some quick television news, with the TV upfronts coming this week, where the networks like to announce their lineups for the fall season ahead of time, there's been a lot of schedule shuffling. ABC waited till the last minute to announce some of their heavy hitters were coming back, like Private Practice, Body of Proof, Don't Trust the Bitch in Apartment 23. You don't like they call it the B, call it the bitch. He already said it on the show, and ABC just had a lot of obsession with the word bitch this season between Don't Trust the B and GCB, which unfortunately got canceled. Why not just say it if you're going to put it on that many shows? In addition to that, you also had Scandal, which is going to be coming back as well. Two of their comedies, Happy Endings and Last Man Standing, also renewed. In addition to GCB from ABC, you had Pan Am, Missing, and The River that all suffered cancellations. Out of those shows, I only really watched Missing, which pretty much could be described as the plot of GoldenEye if 006 and 007 both had kids together. But it was a decent show. Disappointed that it never got the ratings boost that everyone felt like it needed to stay on the air for a second season. Meanwhile, some other shows that got canceled that are upsetting. Definitely has to be Awake for NBC. I thought it was one of the most ambitious shows this season. A lot of shows that had kind of a sci-fi twist. In the case of Awake, it was he lay down with his wife and then close his eyes, wake up, and he's with his son, and lay down, keep switching off. And at the heart of it, one of them is really dead. He had an accident that occurred, and he just won't tell himself which reality is real. So you had hints of what's going on both sides, in both sides of reality. Both realities telling him he's crazy for believing the other one. It was a very awesome show. When they released it on DVD, definitely check it out. And you'll be disappointed that you didn't catch it now that it's canceled, because you'll be like, oh man, I wanted to see what happened more. But that's very upsetting. CBS, they're doing their usual thing of, 2.5 Men. We're not officially announcing it until the last second, but we all know it's got good ratings, so why is it a surprise we're renewing it? If anything, the one big surprise from them was the fact that they kept CSI New York on, probably because it might have a little bit of bigger star power than CSI Miami, despite the fact that CSI Miami is the one that's doing better in the ratings. Some things I won't understand and I won't pretend to understand, so let's just move on. speaking of CBS, last night was the Survivor finale. Kim ended up winning not only the $1 million, but the $100,000 Brit Best Player of the Season award. You can't really deny she was the best. She told everyone how to do things. People listened to her even when they shouldn't have. She ended up telling everyone the truth of, yes, I blindsided every single one of you. And that's what made her win, the fact that she owned up to it for once. Any other season, you have people, no, I didn't do that, no, it's a game, but I didn't lie about it even though I did. People take Survivor way too seriously, and I can understand if you're on the show that, oh, I'm on the show, and oh my god, I got voted off, this is the most terrible thing that's ever happened to me, and I'm going to be pissed at people. It was great this season to see that everyone who was on the jury, who got to vote, other than 1 or 2 people, weren't bitter. They were like, alright, I get it was a game. I'm just pissed that I got eliminated early. At least they'll admit that. Not, oh, I'm such a good player that you guys had to take me out. Speaking of assholes, they had to bring Colton back. Everyone's talking, oh, maybe he's going to be on the next season. You know, they have the medical evacuees back. I honestly hope not, and I'm going to give you a realistic explanation for why. The fact that this season, you know, they were doing all the editing. They were actually putting on the air while they were filming the other one. I don't ever see a case of one person being eliminated from the current season, and the very next season they're already back on the island. So while now I get to spend the next couple months crossing my fingers that I don't see Colton pop up on my TV set again, there were a few fun things I did learn last night about him. Like one, when Jeff Probst asked him if he was still a racist, and he accidentally said yes as the answer. That is the answer that everyone expected. I still think he's a racist. Trying to talk about, what I said about Bill was bad, he was not ghetto trash, that's a character I was playing. You're talking to the camera by yourself, that's not a character, that's your actual thoughts and feelings, dude, so you are actually a racist. Bill didn't seem completely forgiving, but just seems accepting of it, which I guess is the better way to go. Better than Leaf, who doesn't seem too thrilled with Colton at all still. Leaf was a little guy that Colton made the lollipop guilt comments about, so I'm happy that someone at least is standing their ground and being like, hey, just because he's a gay Southern kid doesn't mean he gets my sympathy, he's still an asshole. And to sum up, I really think that as much as Kim deserved the win because she masterminded everything, I think people forget that when it comes to Survivor, the whole thing about blindsiding people is to get other people to do the work for you, if you can be in control of that. And it seemed more like Chelsea had Kim doing everything for the first half of the season, and she was letting Kim take the blame. It's very interesting how any other season that would have made Chelsea the good person because, oh, well, Kim's the one who eliminated us, so we hate her. And this was a season everyone realized, oh, she got me. Alright, she gets my vote. So, yeah, it just wouldn't be a Survivor finale if it weren't for the fact that the person I wanted to win, Chelsea, got absolutely 0 votes. Surprise, surprise. So that'll do it for today, but we thank you guys for joining us here again. As always, be sure to click the subscribe link right above my head. You see it, click it, makes it easier to keep up on the daily Dizzles for you. But there'll definitely be some more entertaining news popping up, so we will get more of that tomorrow. So for the Daily Dizzle, I'm Tommy Dizzlemits. Be sure to check back then when you can get more of your Dizzle Daily. We'll see you guys Tuesday.